Flash floods in June not only caused significant damage to buildings and towns all across northeast Minnesota, but also outdoor recreation. Northern News Now's Madison Green went to Two Harbors today to learn what path the Superior Hiking Trail is taking to get things back on track.
The 3 to 6 inches of rain northeast Minnesota saw mid-June destroyed different parts of the Superior Hiking Trail. Now, the Superior Hiking Trail Association has the opportunity to double the money they raised to help fix the damages. The Superior Hiking Trail spans 300 miles from just south of Jay Cooke State Park in Carlton to the Canadian border along Lake Superior. Hikers can begin their journey on any of the more than 60 trailheads for free. Volunteers help manage, maintain, and fund the trail throughout the season. But after the severe flooding, the SHTA needs more support to repair erosion and bridges. A generous group of donors has committed to matching up to $14,000 during the association's annual membership drive over the course of 2 weeks in order to help keep the trails free.
There are so many recreational opportunities in our region, but a lot of them are pay to play, which means that you need to have money to access them. And we are one of the remaining free, accessible recreational opportunities in the region.
The $14,000 is equal to 310 more memberships. As of today, only 4 days into the drive, there are 81 new members. Membership fees start at $45 annually, and we have more information on how to sign up on our website. On the Superior Hiking Trail, Madison Green, Northern News Now.
Thanks, Madison. You don't have to be a local to appreciate the Superior Hiking Trail. What even visitors are doing to help maintain the beauty of our region tonight at 10.